If you want to go further than you ever have, then this one simple mindset tweak is all you need to get there. And it's really hard to do. In fact, we naturally resist this mindset because we're always looking for an excuse to stop. We say to ourselves, "Oh, well, this is good enough, or that is sort of close enough, or I think that looks pretty great, or I am kind of tired now, or I've done enough work this week. Let me watch some TV." Don't do that. Here's what you need to understand. We're programmed to settle for what's in front of us because settling is easier. But if you really want to get somewhere amazing, then you need to keep moving forward. You need to keep pushing yourself even after you've reached a point where things are good enough. Here's why. You see, most people stop way too early because they start comparing themselves to others. They start judging their progress based on other people's expectations or advice. Now, these external sources of feedback might be correct, but more often than not, they're wrong because they're coming from someone else's perspective. Someone else's situation is different from yours. Someone else has different goals, different values, different priorities. So why would you measure your own success based on someone else's standard? Why would you compare your progress to someone who isn't even in your shoes? The reason most people do this is because they want to stop. They're looking for an excuse to quit, to slow down, to stop trying. And the easiest way to do that is by comparing themselves to others and saying, "Well, I think I am about at the same level as him, or I am as good as her right now." But here's the truth. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing or where they are. Your only benchmark should be yourself. Your progress should be measured against your past self, not against somebody else. How many times have you said to yourself, "I'm not as strong as him. I'm not as fast as her. I'm not as smart as him. I'm not as successful as them. I'm not as wealthy as him. I'm not as beautiful as her. I'm not as talented as them"? When you do this, you're essentially giving up on yourself. You're choosing to limit yourself, to hold yourself back, to sacrifice your potential just so you could feel good in the moment, or just so you could feel normal. You're basically saying, "Look, I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can reach my dreams. I'm not sure I have what it takes. I'd rather play it safe. I'd rather walk away with what I have instead of risking it all." And while this may seem like the rational thing to do, the logical thing to do, it is actually the dumbest thing you could possibly do, because you'll never know how far you could go. You'll never know what you're capable of unless you try. So stop comparing yourself to everyone else and start focusing on your own journey. Only you know where you started. Only you know what you had to overcome. Only you know what your true goals are. So why would you measure your success based on somebody else's timeline or somebody else's vision? Nobody can tell you how long it will take for you to get somewhere. Only you know the exact path you need to walk down. The best way to get somewhere incredible is by following your own path, by setting your own standards, by becoming obsessed with your own progress. The only problem with this approach is that it requires tremendous discipline and resilience. Because when you set your own standards, you no longer have the luxury of comparing yourself to others. You can't use other people's performance as an excuse for your own shortcomings. You can't blame anyone else for your lack of progress. You can't run away from failure or hide from rejection, because those are your own personal battles that you must face alone. So if you truly want to push yourself to the limit, if you really want to know what you're capable of, you need to look inside yourself for motivation, for inspiration, for drive. And the best way to do that is by following the one rule that will change everything. Don't stop until you're proud. Think about it. How many times have you reached a goal and felt proud of yourself? How many times have you completed a task and thought, "Wow, I did it"? How many times have you accomplished something that made you truly happy? If you're honest, you'll realize that these moments are few and far between. They don't happen often. In fact, most of the time we feel unfulfilled, disappointed, frustrated, or even ashamed of our progress. And that's because we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. We're always trying to meet external expectations or conform to someone else's idea of success. But here's the thing, none of that matters. The only person you need to satisfy is yourself. The only approval you need to get is your own. The only praise you need to receive is your own validation. So stop worrying about what everyone else thinks and start focusing on what you truly want. Don't just stop when things are good enough. Don't just settle for what's in front of you. Keep going until you're proud of what you've accomplished. Keep pushing yourself even after you've reached a point where others would be satisfied. Push through the pain. Push through the discomfort. Push through the struggle until you can look in the mirror and say, "I gave it everything I had. I left it all out on the field. I am proud of myself." And then once you reach that point, once you can finally appreciate your own efforts, you'll know you've made it. That's when it'll feel like you're on top of the world. That's when it'll feel like all the hard work and sacrifice was worth it. Now let's apply this mindset to fitness. Imagine you're going to the gym and lifting weights. You're working out and getting stronger. Now imagine you have a friend who's also working out. Now, if you're not careful, you'll start comparing yourself to your friend. You'll start measuring your progress against his. And if he's stronger than you, faster than you, more muscular than you, you'll start thinking that you're not making any progress. You'll start feeling like you're behind. But if you really want to make progress, if you truly want to get fit, you need to stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on your own journey. You need to set your own standards, become obsessed with your own progress. So before you step foot into the gym, you need to have a clear understanding of your goals, your strengths, your weaknesses, your limitations, your needs, your wants. You need to know exactly what you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to do it. Once you have that clarity, once you have that focus, you can start working out. You can start pushing yourself to the limit without worrying about what anyone else thinks. Because here's the thing. Nobody can tell you how fit you should be, or how strong you should be, or how muscular you should be. Only you know your goals, your aspiration, your dreams. So why would you measure your progress against someone else's reality? Instead, measure your progress against your own potential. Don't stop until you're proud of your own strength, your own speed, your own endurance, your own flexibility, your own power. Don't stop until you can look in the mirror and say, "I am proud of my body. I am proud of my discipline. I am proud of my commitment." That's when it'll feel like you're on top of the world. And remember, this applies to every single thing you do in life. Your relationships, your finances, your career, your hobbies, your passions. In every area of your life, there's a point where things are good enough. A point where you could stop and be satisfied. But don't. Keep pushing yourself. Keep growing. Keep evolving until you can finally say with pride, I gave it everything I had. I am proud of myself. And that right there is all that matters.